A very good afternoon and welcome to Swechotv. Remember to always keep following us if you haven't done that at Swechotv Kenya across all social media platforms. It is exactly 1 p.m. and welcome to our lunchtime news bulletin. Now on to our first story. DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua says he is not pushing for the dissolution of political parties in the Mount Kenya region, but will not be drawn into coalition talks with outfits that have not consolidated their political bases. In response to criticism by DP leader Justin Muturi, PNU leader Peter Munya and DEP leader Lenny Kivuti over his attitude towards other opposition parties, Gachagua said he was calling for the consolidation of support before any talks on a joint opposition presidential candidate could be held. He added that all parties in the Mount Kenya region would compete at every level except the presidency. He asked the leaders who had taken him on to popularize their parties before meeting at the negotiating table.
I want to clarify today that DCP and Rigathi Gachagua welcome all political parties. They come. We compete fairly. The only thing hatutaki mashindano ni kitimo ya rais peke yake. Hiyo tunataka tuelewane zote. Sasa wewe Munya na PNU olokalao bado fika. Sasa mkapata kula 28, unapata aibu. Kwa sasa ukikosa kufanya kampeni utapata kura. Lakini ya gavana Embu niko na mtu. Meru niko na mtu. So how those two governors wanalia? That one I cannot help them. Hiyo watajitetea kwa raia. How do we talk with the people who have not consolidated anything? Sasa wewe kama unakuja peke yako kwa mkutano na hii ni siasa ya kutafuta urais, utaongea na nani? Wewe uko peke yako unatembea kama miti. You are alone at you order masukumuso at wa hoteli. How? We have already given political direction. Kura itapigwa na ilindwe. Hiyo maneno imeisha. Sasa wanabweka huko msilinde, hiyo ni kuongea unaongea. The matter is already decided.
Now, moving on, a shimmering power struggle within the united opposition spilled into the open, with Jubilee party leaders launching a scathing attack on DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua, accusing him of arrogance. Speaking during a tour of Kuria East and Kuria West in Migori County, the Jubilee team led by Deputy Party Leader Dr. Fred Matiang'i called for the unity of opposition if they are to defeat President William Ruto in 2027.
I'd like to tell His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, you are the biggest impediment to the unity of the opposition of this country. Wewe wacha majivuno na kiburi, kudharau viongozi wengine wa upinzani. Wewe jiheshimu kama kiongozi wa upinzani. Wakikuyu ni watu wazuri, lakini wewe unaleta majivuno na kiburi, na hatutakubali uendelee kudharau makabila madogo madogo, sivyo? Wewe Rigathi, tunakuambia heshima si utumwa. Ninajua utanijibu na nitaendelea kukujibu. Wewe naona ni kama unataka Ruto arudi. Nyinyi mnataka Ruto arudi kama rais?
Mnataka tuungane? Mimi naendelea kuongea na wale wazee wetu, Mheshimiwa Gachagua, Mheshimiwa Kalonzo, Mama Martha Karua, ndugu yetu Sifuna, tutaongea na yeye sisi wote ili tukae pamoja. Mheshimiwa Eugene Wamalwa, hii timu ni kubwa, wanapita Munya, Mheshimiwa anatembea, tutaungana sisi wote.
Hana mambo ya wizi wa mambo ya mali ya umma, hana mambo ya uadui na mtu. Hata ukisikia kwa sauti zake za siasa, hana matusi.
Tumesema kazi imeshinda Mheshimiwa Ruto. Kazi yake ni kuiba mashamba ya serikali, ni kuandika watu kazi wa ukoo wake.
William Ruto, afya umeharibu. William Ruto, security iko chini.
Matiang'i ndio dawa ya makosa ya hii serikali leo. Tumekubaliana?
Now, on to matters health. Now, Kenyans can now access emergency response 24 hours a day by dialing 922. In a major overhaul of Kenya's emergency medical response, President William Ruto officially launched the National Ambulance Dispatch Center, which connects over 600 accredited public and private ambulances, including emergency fleet from county governments, the Kenya Red Cross and St. John Ambulance into a single digital command system. Under the new arrangement, emergency evacuation and the first 24 hours of emergency care will be free for all Kenyans, regardless of whether they are registered with the SHA. Faith Otieno has more reports.
At the center of Social Health Authority, headquarters is the command hub of a system designed to transform emergency response services in the country, covering not only health crises but also natural and human-caused disasters. The National Dispatch Center will facilitate coordination of medical intervention and emergency evacuation across all 47 counties, an initiative the government says will help reduce delays that often determine the difference between survival and loss of life.
Rolling out the universal access to emergency medical services. Your Excellency, as I conclude, SHA, together under the guidance and stewardship of the Ministry of Health, will now focus on 4 key pillars that will ensure these EMS services are sustainable.
From this facility, close to 600 ambulances distributed across the country will be managed and deployed to provide assistance to people requiring urgent care. Here is how the system will operate. Once a caller dials 922, trained medical dispatchers will immediately carry out a clinical assessment to determine the severity of the emergency. Through satellite and GPS technology, the team will identify the nearest available ambulance, shown in real time as green for free or red for already assigned. Importantly, the system will not only direct patients to the nearest hospital, but will also consider live bed availability to manage each emergency.
Ambulance evacuation and the first 24 hours of emergency treatment will be paid for through the emergency, chronic, and critical illness funds at the approved tariffs. This protection applies whether the patient is registered with SHA or not, and whether or not they have paid for SHA. No deposit, no guarantee, no negotiation, no relatives running around looking for money. Everything will be taken care of.
To curb misuse, emergency evacuation services will only be approved for clearly defined life-threatening medical situations. These include serious road accident injuries, sudden heart complication, stroke cases, severe breathing difficulties, acute poisoning incident, and critical pregnancy-related emergency. In terms of funding, the Government Emergency, Chronic and Critical Illness Fund will fully cover ambulance transportation and essential stabilization procedures during the first 24 hours. After this urgent stabilization period ends, registered SHA member will continue receiving support through their existing health packages or capitation benefits, while patients who are not registered will move to regular hospital billing or be assisted to register at the facility.
Kenyan will be picked by an ambulance. He's taken to a hospital and the hospital will ask for a deposit. Maybe they don't have that deposit, that amount of money. Then they go to the next hospital. Then they go to the next hospital. In the end, that patient dies inside the ambulance, or even there's no ambulance to pick him. Today you are making history by making sure that emergency care, as provided for in the Constitution, is going to be actualized.
Health sector experts point out that technology by itself cannot guarantee success. A strong institutional commitment and adherence by health facilities will be equally important. With the 922 Emergency Command Center operating on a 24-hour basis, the government says that a person's ability to access life-saving medical care will no longer be determined by their financial situation during a health crisis. Reporting for Swecho TV, I'm Faith Otieno.
Now, on to matters education. The government is proposing to scrap university scholarships altogether and replace them with loans. Students placed in public universities will be given 100% funding, with the entire amount provided as a loan repayable once they secure employment. The proposed university funding bill, which is currently before education stakeholders, seek to consolidate all higher education funding under a single framework to be managed by an authority. Monica Lewinsky has the report.
The Ministry of Education is once again proposing sweeping reforms to university funding through the Tertiary Education Placement and Funding Bill currently before Parliament. Unlike the current model, where some students receive scholarships while others receive mix of scholarships and loan based on need, the new proposal places all government funding under one authority, with beneficiaries expected to repay the funds after completing their studies.
This new bill proposes to address 4 significant things, which I would like to submit. The first one is on access to funding. The second one is adequacy. The third one is sustainability, to ensure that the funds will always be available and the universities who are the beneficiaries will always be available. The funds will be available to them.
Graduates who secure formal employment will be required to disclose their loan status to their employers immediately upon employment to facilitate loan deductions. Those in informal employment will instead be required to enter into a repayment agreement with the Higher Education Loans Authority, outlining the mode and frequency of repayment.
We are revamping the legal framework to create a single funding authority, consolidating funding avenues, and improve data management by creating a centralized database. The funding authority will have power to utilize non-traditional resource mobilization mechanisms such as education bonds and capital markets to ensure that there are adequate resources to support our students.
We have 56.7 billion allocated by this house to help. Universities Fund has got 30.9 billion. And the TVET scholarship has been allocated 9.2 billion. These funds are being supported by different institutions, and this is what we are working on, to bring them together and use the synergies of that money to be able to raise more funding.
To safeguard borrowers, the proposed law caps loan deductions at no more than 25% of a beneficiary's earnings. The bill seeks to integrate sources of funding and bring together separate funding streams into a sustainable financing mix.
We will have a bond system which will be raised through the capital markets. We will have a savings scheme where the parents can save funds for their students when they go to the university. The Act proposes enhancement of loan repayments so that we can be able to grow loan repayments. And the last one is a proposal to be able to raise funds using concessional loans that would be from development partners.
The bill also grants the authority powers to recover any outstanding amounts as civil debts, allowing it to pursue legal action against loan default necessary. The bill has already been tabled before the National Assembly's Education Committee and will now proceed to be debated by members of Parliament before lawmakers decide whether to improve the new funding model. Reporting for Swechotv, I'm Monica Lewinsky.
Now, the family of the late Eric Otieno, a boda operator who died under mysterious circumstances after his arrest and detention at Muthaiga police station, is demanding the arrest of all police officers involved in his arrest and alleged assault inside the station. Otieno, who was pronounced dead on arrival at Mama Margaret Uhuru Hospital on Sunday night, was reportedly released to his family after his condition worsened while in custody. An autopsy conducted on Tuesday confirmed that he died from multiple abdominal injuries consistent with beatings he sustained. Lawyers and human rights defenders have called on IPOA to recover CCTV footage from the station and expedite investigations into yet another case of alleged police brutality.
Get me out. Get me out. If you can, because I have been beaten here. Remember, this is just on the same day of arrest. All right? Arrested at 10, brother goes to see him later in the evening on the same day at 4, and he could not even stand. By the time he was released, By 11 p.m., while he was being rushed to Mama Margaret Uhuru Hospital, he died on the way. So he was pronounced dead on arrival.
The CCTV footage of this police station in Muthaiga to be obtained by IPOA and also Kenya National Commission for Human Rights, that this evidence is not tampered, and also an account of the recordings at the OB.
We are having prime suspects out, yet the law is not being applied because investigations are ongoing. And as we saw in the Albert Ojwang case, they ended up being the prime suspects. So even by them being out there, there is high possibility that they're interfering with these evidences.
We want accountability of IPOA. For how long will we continue complaining about excesses of the police? Yet tuko na institution ya IPOA yenye inafaa kuwa ikifanya kazi kuzuia haya mauaji.
Now, with that story marks the first segment or the end of our first segment here at Lunchtime News Bulletin here at Swecho TV. Remember to keep following us on all social media platforms at Swecho TV Kenya. Email us in case of any advertisements at swechotv@gmail.com. We take our first commercial break. We'll be right back in a short while. Welcome back once again, and thank you for staying with us here at Swecho TV. Now on to sports. Former champions Kakamega High School and St. Mary's Yala will meet in the boys football final at this year's Kenya Secondary School Sports or Soccer Association National Term 2 ball games. Kakamega needed extra time to edge Menengai High School 2-1, while St. Mary's Yala made a huge statement by blanking newcomers Takaba Day Secondary School. Now take a look at the action.
Kiambu County.
And the inaugural Hockey Fives Youth Africa Cup starts in Nairobi today, with 5 countries set to compete in both the boys and girls under-18 tournaments. Kenya will be joined by Nigeria, South Africa, Uganda and Ghana in the 3-day competition at the 6th Union Club.
You know, Hockey Fives is a game that has high scoring, so it's very high scoring, and that's been one of our focus areas. However, we also need to know how to defend well, so generally defensive and offensive play.
Now that marks the end of our today's bulletin, and thank you for always staying with us and also staying with us during this or today's bulletin. Up until next time, remember to keep following us, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Swecho TV Kenya, follow us across all social media platforms at Swecho TV Kenya. In case of any query or any advertisement, feel free to email us at swechotv@gmail.com. I was Densh Odera. Good afternoon.